It looks better on the waveform.
That's good.
I mean, if I really need to stop typing, I can. Here, let me turn down my gains a little bit.
I imagine if you were to type real slowly and carefully too, it might work.
Yeah, you could also get a crappier keyboard and get squishy keys instead of mechanical keys.
Yeah, my keyboard is way quieter because it fucking sucks and feels like shit to type on.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I am Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddy Grace Webben. And returning from last week is
Sam, other Sam, the game professor from Games Lab 101.
Sam Jr.
Nailed it.
The next iteration.
Yes.
The next generation of Sam.
Isn't that just Storm?
Technically, literally, yes.
He's
I guess if you want to
Sam.
be all using words in the way that they actually work, I guess, if you want to do that.
He's
That's
new
for noobs.
Sam, and you are Sam Classic.
Have any of y'all read, this isn't going to be a tangent, I just want to very quickly ask and then move on. Have any of y'all read Sonic High School?
No.
Sonic High School is an incredible Sonic fan fiction that is terrible and amazing. And at one point, Knuckles has a baby, and I believe they call him Knuckles Jr., but then also slightly later, Knuckles ends up going into someone and then being reborn as a baby, and they have to call him Baby Knuckles. So you got Knuckles Jr., who is Knuckles' son, but then Baby Knuckles, which is Knuckles who got turned into a baby. It's good.
I just have to read this.
I just remembered because I shared this on the podcast back during, I think, Xenogears. It was a long-ass time ago.
Very long time ago.
The guy, Ken Penders, the quote-unquote creator of the Archie Sonic comics, quit because he wanted to do his own thing, and the thing that he wanted to do was Mobius 25 years later, and because of some loophole he got the rights to the non-Sonic characters from the Archie Sonic comics, and he finally posted a update on it, and it's the worst goddamn art I've ever seen, and so I'm trying to scroll back through and find where I had shared it, but I'm not seeing it easily. But I will find it, and I will share it with the class because it's bad. It is the worst thing I've ever seen, and it's an official work.
It's that one famous screenshot from the movie Taken, but it's Liam Neeson as you pointing at a meme, and he's saying, "I will find you."
Yes, but today, instead of that, we will be talking about the second section of Lunar, the Silver Star for the Sega CD, and also the PlayStation, and also the PlayStation Portable. Covering up to where do we? It's this. Is it the Silver Tower? The Crystal Tower?
The Crystal.
We're saving
Crystal something.
It's gonna pop you out into a dungeon right after you escape from prison.
To jail, and then we're gonna save after we get out of jail. That's it. Actually, the part about the tower doesn't apply to my version, so let's that's just when you get out of jail.
Perfect. So we're gonna get out of jail, and then we're gonna stop. But before we get to all of that, how was everyone's week?
My week was pretty uneventful. No new big developments, but the big life-changing development that I had last week continues to be good and going strong. And is that an alarm of some sort?
Sorry, yeah, no, that was my phone making the Wii sound at me, because that's what I set as my notification, and I silenced it now. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was
No
I
worries.
was like, is someone having a fire? But yeah,
That would be an extremely chill fire alarm.
I guess you're right. But yeah, everything is still going really well there. I have a lot of support, and I'm feeling very good about things. So yeah, everything's good. I mean, I have a lot of anxiety about stuff, but that's like my normal everyday kind of bullshit. So having a lot of anxiety is just my default. Yeah. Oh, I did on Sunday. There was a performance of the Phantom of the Opera that was being put on in Final Fantasy by this group, and
Oh, I heard about that.
yeah, I was gonna.
Oh, that's so cool.
I was gonna take a friend to go see it, and I had already taken the day off work because I was like, I fucking need a day off. I'm tired, and so we were gonna go to the matinee showing, which was 1 p.m. Central. And I got on Final Fantasy at 11, and the person who I was going to go with was like, you better go get in line now because apparently there's already a queue. And I'm like, it's 2 hours before the event. Are you fucking kidding me? So, yeah, I got in line. There were already a bunch of people ahead of me. And then he came along. He got yelled at for line cutting, because they didn't want people saving spots. And I was like, well, that's some bullshit, but okay, I'll move to the back of the line with you. And so I did that. And then, like an hour before the event starts, they came up to us and said, hey, you guys are unfortunately too far back in the line to be at the 1 p.m. showing, but you'll be in line for the 6 p.m. showing. And I was like, do we have to stay here the entire time? Oh, no, it was only like 11:30 at that point. But yeah, I was like, do we have to stay here the entire time? And they were like, well, you can try leaving, but people queue up for these hours in advance. So, you'd be testing your luck with that one. And like, I talked to my RP partner. I'm like, do you want to maybe just go do something else? And he was like,
Yeah, that sounds nuts.
yeah. Like, these people have a large house. They could absolutely fit a bunch of people in there, but apparently they want to be like Broadway and make it real exclusive, and like you don't even have to pay to go in, so I don't know why they made it that way. But I was like, I don't want to stand in line for the next 6.5 hours, so
Yeah.
we found other shit to do, and that was fun. But like, it better be a damn fucking good production of Phantom of the Opera and Final Fantasy to be worth waiting like that.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's
it's all right. I won't be supporting them anymore because they're too exclusive for my taste.
nice. Speaking of supporting things, I voted this week. Early voting is probably going on wherever the fuck you are, and everyone should do that.
I also did and agree. Everyone should.
I finally got around to filling out my ballot this morning, and I'll probably drop it off tonight or maybe tomorrow morning. There is a drop box not far from me. It's kind of far, but it's close enough that I could walk if I wanted to have a nice, somewhat lengthy walk. So I think I will do that and actually get some fucking exercise and walk over to Fruitvale and drop it in there. It's like just close enough where I'm like, yeah, the part of me that wants to actually be a little bit healthy sometimes is wanting to take a walk. is telling me I shouldn't drive.
Nice. Other than that, I reached peak Midwestern dad today.
Oh God. So you voted for Trump.
No, I'm in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's blue the last couple times. Yeah, Wisconsin.
Wasn't Wisconsin one of the crucial ones that fell to Hillary, or that fell to Trump in 2016? What, it doesn't matter. I was just making a dumb joke.
But I know Wisconsin was the kick-ass governor's race in 2018 that we all stayed up all night to cheer on Matt with.
Oh shit, you're right. That was intense.
Yeah. But so what I did is it is currently 30 degrees outside, and I took out the trash in my underwear this morning and did not put on any warm clothes while it was actively snowing. And that's how I took out my trash, which is the thing that like all Midwestern dads do. They're like, oh, this isn't cold. It gets negative 25 or whatever. But I'm just extremely hot natured, and the 30 degrees felt great. So I didn't feel like bundling up to walk the 15 feet to my trash can. So I have assimilated very far. Half of my blood cells have been replaced with cheese curds.
So, for like 3 fucking months.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how I continue to enjoy this as it gets more and more cold. But seeing like a real snow this morning was real cool, because I've only ever seen Texas snow, which means if I'm lucky, it'll last on a car for 30 minutes. But here it was like we had a tiny bit of ground cover for most of the morning, which was awesome. Big recommend for snow. What about you, Maddy and or Negasonic?
I don't know. Not much. I feel like a lot actually, but I don't remember what it is because my brain is mush at this point. As a memory of goldfish, we've been talking about that. I've been calling people about this extremely important California ballot Proposition 15, for 3 hours a night every night. I canceled all my streams because of that. So my streams now have a image that shows up where it says streams canceled. Also click here to volunteer for Proposition 15 calling. It probably isn't going to get anybody to click on it because I don't even know how many of my viewers live in California, but still, it's cool. I felt like that was just interesting. That's kind of what I want to be doing with it. So it was cool to do it, even though like this time it doesn't matter, but next time it might matter. Right. Yeah. But yeah, so I've been doing Lunar at completely random intervals, that are not scheduled at all. Anything else? I don't know what's going on with my life. Who knows? I'm great. Other Sam, what's going on with you?
Well, as previously mentioned, I voted, and I'm glad about that. I live in Tennessee, so it's not going to matter, but I did.
Yeah, same here. I voted, but Texas.
Yeah. Oof. But, that happened. That's pretty much mostly what happened. Oh, though today I did get some pre-orders that I had... sometimes when I pre-order like special editions of things or whatever, I forget that they're happening until they arrive at my house. And so today I got a physical Switch copy of Untitled Goose Game, which I'm extremely happy about having on my shelf, and also a vinyl record of the Sayonara Wild Hearts soundtrack, which nice. I don't know if any of you have played Sayonara Wild Hearts, but oof, man,
I've heard it's got a great soundtrack. What line put that out? Was that I Am 8-Bit?
Yeah,
I thought so, because if it was Brave Wave or Data Discs, I would have known about it because I follow both of them.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, ages ago, whenever it was that they first put pre-orders up, and I was like, yes, I need that. That game is fantastic. Honestly, it's so good.
Actually, one thing that I did, or rather didn't do, actually, is that pre-orders for Data Disc's release of the Ikaruga soundtrack opened on Saturday.
Ooh.
And I prayed and prayed and prayed that I would get that job offer I'm waiting on before Saturday, so that I could be like, okay, cool, I can spend $40 on this because I've got a good new job now. But I didn't hear back yet, so I was like, I can't. I gotta be responsible. I can't spend this money until I know for sure that I have a new good job. I want the Ikaruga soundtrack so bad. Also, one thing I did do that I'm just gonna yell real fast. I saw the new what's it called? I saw the new Aaron Sorkin movie, The Trial of the Chicago 7. It's probably his best work. It's terrible, and the politics made me want to barf. But pretty good time. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it's a very educational film, not in its portrayal of historical events, but it's a very educational film, in my opinion, because it is a bunch of people being really stupid, and it's a good lesson about what not to do. and what kind of political ideas aren't useful. The movie isn't doing that on purpose, but I'm just saying I found it very educational to watch for that reason. So anyway, good job, I guess, Aaron Sorkin. I had a great time watching your movie, even though it's like the dumbest shit in the world.
More like Aaron Dorkin.
Yeah, no, extremely. Like, I was rolling my eyes or flipping off the screen half the movie, but at the end I was like, that was a good time.
Gotta love it.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done, but you weren't done. What else was going on with you, other Sam?
Oh, I am having trouble. I need to remember that this is a segment because I'm always like at a complete loss for words without like preparation for this kind of thing. I'm sure sometime like halfway through I'll be like, I also did this other cool thing, but for now, I guess I'm done. Yeah, if I randomly just start spouting off about some random thing I did this week, that is why.
Hell yeah. No, that's great. We love to hear it.
It'll be your memorable moment that happened to you personally this week.
It was
Yes,
memorable.
exactly.
Just pretend like you misunderstood the concept.
Yeah.
Yes.
But before we move on, I did remember another thing that me and Summer started like 2 days ago. But we're pre-gaming our 2021 resolution because we saw a TikTok about this book talker that was like, here's how I read 7 books a month. I listened to 3 different books on my commute to work, and then the other 4 I read 1 a week. And how I do that is I see how many pages are in the book, divide that by 7, and read that each day, which sounds like a lot, but if the average book is 250 pages, that's like 30 pages a day, give or take, and that's fucking nothing to read 30 pages a day. And we were like, you know what, that's right, because both of us really haven't read since like high school, and we love reading, so we basically just divvied up our books. My books are really big and thick because I have a hard-on for swords and magic and shit, so mine are over 2 weeks instead of over 1 week, because the Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan, which is my next book, is 1,000 pages long. So a 1/7 of that would be a lot. So instead, I'm doing 1/14 of that a day, and it's been great. Like, reading is good. In case anyone forgot, it's a fun time. But,
I did so much fucking reading this week, but it wasn't reading. It wasn't reading books. It was reading 1,000 word long political discourse emails. Just dozens upon dozens upon dozens of them in this listserv that I'm in preparation for a 3-hour long convention that was yesterday. It was a lot, and I learned a lot, and I posted only a little bit because I feel like I didn't have super much to say, but I learned a lot from other people and the smart things that they said. Also, I did have one comment I wanted to make within my internet during the convention, but my internet went out. So I had to call in, and when I called in, I didn't know how to raise my hand on the phone, so I didn't get to make my comment.
Oh no.
I didn't know like what the button is to raise your hand in Zoom, right? If you're just calling, I'm like, I want to go on Stack. Oh well.
Oh well.
Reading is good though, I agree.
Speaking of reading, let's listen to some music from this week. So I might not do the crossfading thing again, because the PSP soundtrack is not a remake of the Sega CD count soundtrack. It is completely and totally unrelated. And
right.
it also
pick one, yeah.
It also slaps, but it was a lot harder to do last week than it should have been. So I will probably not do that, or if I do, not try to make it match like I did last time, and I'll just show one and then show the other, like fade in and fade out type thing. But yeah, we will listen to that, and then Maddy will read us her notes.
Good segue, Sam.
Section. Thank you. I've ruined it, but then I brought it back.
the song we just heard. So when we last left our heroes, we had done a lot of beginning of an RPG stuff. And now we are going off on our big adventure. So I finally get to the town of Skaith, and there's nothing particular. I'm not going to stop making that stupid joke. There's nothing particularly of note here, just a charming little port town. However, we learned that we can set sail. We hear tell of a man named Brett, whom is really good at cards game. No one's beaten him in over 20 years. That dumbass ship captain wagered his sea chart and lost it, so he can't sail.
I'm sorry, his name is Brett in your version?
I actually don't remember, but I think it was Brett, yes.
He's like Clyde on the PSP.
Yeah,
Fucking
Clyde
Brett.
on the PSP.
Brett's always be doing that, you know? Anyway, so he can't sail. So the boat ticket man... So here's the thing about this game I'm learning. NPC dialogue, extremely lore heavy.
Yes.
Other RPGs, older Final Fantasy games, lores, the NPCs are like kind of boring and don't matter, but they might tell you about like the plot, like the Empire is invading or whatever, like currently, like where it's in the middle of it, it's happening right now, look behind you. In Dragon Quest, every NPC is like a fun little story, like it's like flavor, it's a fun little narrative, little short story. This game, the NPCs are like, this is how you're going to understand the game's lore. So I'm not going to read all the NPC dialogue, but I am going to try and throw in the stuff that I think is relevant. We'll see how it goes. So anyway, here's some stuff that we learned. The boat ticket man, the man we buy a boat ticket from, and our dad went on an adventure long ago. Also, it turns out that there's 4 heroes of light. Last week, I was saying that the game was being very vague about how long ago the famous hero Dyne existed. Now we realize it wasn't that long ago at all, because 3 out of the 4 heroes are still alive.
Yes.
So we got...
And aren't that old. Like, it's implied that Dyne died like, early, because everyone else is, like, in their 40s.
Yeah. So it's like Dragon Quest 3 kind of thing, where your dad went on a hero, like, your dad went on an adventure, like, 20 years ago, right? So, we got 4 heroes. We got Dyne. He's dead. We got Mel, we got Lemia, and we got Galleon. Incidentally, Galleon is Dyne's best friend. Also, Mel and Dyne met at sea. Mel was a feared pirate, and they had a badass fight. Other stuff... Oh, actually, that's it from this town. So, it turns out that there's a hag in a nearby forest. She has a sea map for some reason, so we gotta go get her sea map, but she's a jerk to anyone who approaches. We meet a cool guy. His name is Nash, the magician, and he's very fun and charming. Sam was saying that he's a big asshole. He must be less of an asshole in my version, because in mine he's pompous, like he's a little full of himself, but he's not mean to anybody. He's quite sweet. I like him. He's a sorcerer.
He's mean to Luna like the whole time, because he's a magician nerd from school, and Luna just started singing one day and magic started happening, so he's like obviously jealous. And
none of that's in mine. So he is a sorcerer's apprentice, and I will say he is rather vain. So anyway, he overhears our problem, and he says, "Hey, I also need to get to Meribia. I've got a fancy magic staff. Maybe the old hag will take this staff. I don't need it, as a trade for the sea chart." He joins our party, and we have a whopping 4 party members. We go do the thing. We go get the map from the lady. That's it. Time to set sail. But oh no, there's yet another dumb problem. There's monsters in the lighthouse. We do a dungeon and deal with the monsters. Oh, damn it. I was going to say, so we go to the boat, but it's not working. Anyway, just pretend like I said that 3 times, because it'd be funnier each time.
I mean, that's also interesting, because that is also not in the PSP version.
Yeah, ours actually, the monsters are on the boat, and we fight them on the boat. So it is that the boat is not working 3 times, and it's funnier each time.
So, time to go. We get to the end of the pier to board the boat to the mainland, and oh no. Luna tells us she has to return home. She saw how sad our parents were and doesn't want them to be alone. But she tells us to be safe, and that she hopes we get everything we've dreamed of. In a voiced cutscene, she says, "Goodbye, my love," which is really touching and a lot. I don't know. You usually don't have characters dropping the L-bomb in these games. I mean, God, even like Final Fantasy X, like Yuna tells Tina she loves him in the final cutscene, right? Like it's really sweet, and also more realistic.
This game is surprisingly straightforward with that element of it. It doesn't really,
it's really dope.
hide it or anything.
last week we were wondering what their deal is, and now we very clearly know what their deal is. Anyway, we sail to the mainland. We see a little miniature. What's up?
Hold it right there. So you're saying that Luna does not come with you right here?
No, she's out for now.
Oh, what?
Oh, so on ours, Alex speaks. Also, I forgot to mention that he was not a silent protagonist last week. So Alex speaks and is like, Luna, things are going to be dangerous. You need to go and be with our parents. Don't leave them alone. And he like sets her on the pier, gets on the boat to start leaving, and she's like, "No, I'd never leave you," type thing, and jumps after you and gets on the boat with you.
So it's different for me.
You're playing the PSP version, right?
Yeah, I'm going off memory. It's something similar to that.
Oh,
if you remember better than that, tell me.
Well, just that I remember it as literally the opposite. That she had said that she was going to go. Alex was sad about it, and then there's this whole scene where the boat is like sailing away, and Alex keeps like walking backwards down it to stay on the pier and to get her and encouraging her to come with them.
Yeah, I forgot who had said they were staying home, but
okay.
Eli, what happens in yours?
It was what. It was what other Sam said that she had said she was going to stay behind. And then
I played it at night right after we recorded back then, so it's been a hot minute.
But yeah,
so anyway,
she's
Luna
like she can't come along, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah. You were saying that Nash was like an ass to Luna the whole time, and I was like, you mean for like one dungeon?
No. But also, that means, since you don't have a Luna, you don't have the best scene in the goddamn game that happens right here.
Wait, wait, really? That's not in the original?
No, she just says that she says goodbye, my love, and then she's gone.
All right.
Okay,
oh, no.
So on the boat, Alex can't sleep, so he looks over to talk to Luna, and her bed is empty. So you go to find her, and she is on the mast of the goddamn ship singing a Disney princess ass song about how much she loves you. And you watch and like get all embarrassed when she sees you and hurry back to your room. And the song is amazing. And it's incredible. One of the best things I've seen in an RPG.
Yeah,
so you should definitely look up that scene on YouTube.
Absolutely fantastic. And I actually, the fact that it wasn't in the original, does that mean that that's the only scene like that? Because I kind of got my hopes up that maybe this game is just a straight up musical.
I don't think it is. But we've had two songs so far.
I mean, singing has been, as we'll see later, it continues to be a very major thematic element, so there's probably going to be more singing.
But unfortunately, the special edition manual that I have only has the opening song and the boat songs lyrics, so might be our only two actual production numbers. But it's amazing, and the cinematography of it is some of the best anime cinematography I've ever goddamn seen. So you should definitely look it up.
Hell yeah. Cool. Also, as a trope, we talked about this with Legend of Dragoon. I fucking love it when characters are being transported and there's a scene that happens. It's the best.
It's so good, man.
It's so good. It's such a good trope. Like if you're writing a story and your characters get on a boat or train or any kind of slowish moving, journey that will take a certain amount of time while they do nothing, and you don't have a scene of them hanging out in some way or another, you're a coward. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I'm just imagining Red 13 in his sailor uniform now.
That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, but didn't you say that there's also some danger in a boss battle here and shit?
It was earlier when you went to the lighthouse. Instead, we went to the boat and like in the port.
Oh,
we killed it in the port.
Not working, and this is gotcha. Okay. So anyway, we like I said, we see a little miniature world map which just shows our island and the western shore of the much larger continent. Damn, this game's world map be big AF. So Nash leaves. He says it was nice traveling with you. If you want to hang, come to the Black Rose Alley, where the magicians hang out. Meribia is a huge city with very nice music. Yeah. We learn that the former hero Mel is the mayor, and he has a daughter, Jessica. He is a loving dad and dotes on her, but she's actually a mega tomboy, but only in secret. Her dad doesn't know. She's away at the convent right now. In this town, we learn a lot of lore. I don't know how much is necessary to share, but here we go. There is here's me talking about how much lore there is in NPC dialogue. Turns out magic isn't just a thing people do sometimes. It's a core component of this world's lore and history. Pretty much any hero worth their salt is a powerful magician. It's not like you could do magic or swords. It's like, oh, you want to be a hero and save the world? Here's go learn magic, right? Magic is even used to control the ocean currents to make ships go. Seems like the Mages Guild has a ton of power in this world. So anyway, we're on the mainland.
I bet that won't come up.
Yeah, so we're on the mainland, right? So we got the town of Meribia, where we currently are. Farther inland is the convent. Then, more farther inland, there's the great enormous city of Vane, home of the Mages Guild. If you rewind back to when I was first talking about Nash, you'll realize I made a funny pun, and now you get it. Further inland, even more past them, is a town I forget the name of. If I scroll down, I do in fact have it.
So you said Vane was inland. Is Vane not a flying city in your game?
I was gonna get there.
Okay. I just was curious because you said it was inland.
Yeah,
and it is definitely above land.
Okay, but it's still it still flies in one area. You have to head inland to get there. But anyway, shit. Where's the name of this? Oh,
Nanza Pass.
Nanza. There we go. I recorded it later once I remembered what it was called, but I forgot. Yes. So, point is, we got Meribia. Then, if you go inland, you've got the nunnery. Then you've got Vane, which is just some town that we hear about. And then there's Nanza Pass. Nanza is sort of the, quote, barrier town to the interior of the continent. Apparently the interior is a desert wasteland with lots of scary monsters and barbarians. It gets kind of racist. So the barrier there is to keep out the unclean hordes, basically. So that's all for later. We're here to sell our dragon shit. So we find a merchant who NPCs have described as, quote, not from around here and, quote, untrustworthy. We talk to him, and his name is Dross, and he says he'll give us a bunch of money for our dragon shit. We give it to him, and he goes into a back room and says he'll get the money, and sure enough, he's gone. Fuck. Turns out people who aren't from around here are untrustworthy. The graphics weren't good enough for it to be an anti-Semitic stereotype, thankfully. We follow him, and like when I talked to him, I was like, please don't have a character portrait. Please don't have a character portrait. We follow him, and we end up in the sewer beneath town. But the sewer is filled with monsters only weak to magic. We don't have magic. So we go to the Mages Guild. We talk with Nash, who helps us out. He says, oh, hey, good to see you. I'm going to introduce you to this guy. He can draw out people's latent magic power. He does it on Alex and says, you're a wizard, Harry. I apologize for that reference to everyone's favorite book by Hatsune Miku. He tries to do it to Ramus, but it turns out Ramus has no magic in his soul, which is hilarious. We do a sewer dungeon, and we get used to magic. Ramus really sucks mechanically. We confront the man, and this is the whole ass dungeon. We confront the man and haggle him up until he pays us a lot more for our diamond, but then we let him go instead of kicking his ass. We give
okay. I'm sorry, but that's are we pointing out differences, or are we saving that for later?
Yeah,
because that is wildly different.
Tell me what happens.
Basically, you just go straight in. And you can actually, there's some off comment that, maybe we should go to, I forget his name, the hero dude. Mel?
Mel.
Yeah, maybe we should go to Mel for help. But if he does, he's like, what? You're an adventurer. You need to do this yourself.
We did have that part, which is hilarious. Okay. And I was like,
but then, But you just go down there. Like, you don't have to. There's nothing about the magic enemies or anything like that. You just go straight down into the sewer, and then he has some sewer monster that he makes fight you, and then you kill him.
It actually comes up later that Alex does not get magic.
No, not at all.
Like, even when we do the Cave of Trials to go to be a mage, he doesn't get magic, and everyone's like, "Well, it's okay. You're trying really hard, and that's what matters."
That's weird.
Like it's a plot beat that he doesn't have magic.
That's interesting, because in this game, it's a plot beat. In my version, it's a plot beat that he does, because getting magic is a core part of being a hero, and you really can't be a hero if you don't have magic.
Yeah, he probably will, but he'll probably Gohan Super Saiyan 2 get magic
Gotcha.
instead
I have
of...
to say, though, I'm kind of sad that we don't have that moment with Ramus, because I feel like that sort of contributes very well to where his arc goes, but...
Yeah.
That's the
all
thing.
right, we'll get there.
See, that's the thing. So we get to Ramus, and yeah, I feel like the whole point of this dungeon is two things. One, I told you this game does a weird amount of tutorializing. One, tutorialize magic. Two, more emphasize how much Ramus sucks, and not just that he sucks, but that he's not really cut out for this sort of thing, because he's of no use the entire dungeon. So anyway, we exit the sewer. We give half the bucks to Ramus, and also we do have our first actual boss. The boss music is great. The boss is a water serpent. It's easy. This game is very easy. My version of it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't sick him on us. The water serpent is actually guarding. No, the water serpent. He isn't. The bad guy doesn't sick the water serpent on us. It just happens.
Okay. The bad guy does sick the water serpent on us, and also we offer Ramus half of the thing, but instead Ramus gets a backbone, and he tells Dross, I could ruin you, so I'm going to unless you give me your shop. And he takes the shop and gives Dross a job like mopping floors in the shop, and that's why he stays, is because he runs the shop now.
Interesting. Well, in my version, Ramus realizes what we all knew was going to happen at some point anyway, and basically what we thought was going to happen did happen in both versions. He realizes that he sucks, and he doesn't really want to be a hero. He's just greedy. He can't even do magic in our version. He says, continue, and again, it's clear that, like, you got no business being a hero if you can't do magic. So he says, continue on without him. He needs to find his own path that isn't being a cool hero guy. He goes back home. Good riddance. Actually, we don't actually know where he goes, but I think it's implied that he gets back on the boat and heads home. Huh. Good riddance to him.
I actually really like our version, but I mean, like, he kind of sucks, but I like, him getting a shop and deciding, like, hey, I'm still going to make a name for myself, just, this way. I like that for him, but,
Interesting. Yeah, we made the joke earlier. I mean,
we did
Discord
like steal a guy's shop and force him into like some kind of servitude, though. Like that, I don't think good for him. I think he's an asshole.
So we were talking in the Discord earlier about how these games all are the same story, but are totally different, and they're literally the Gospels according to their various translations.
Yeah, they really kind of are, which is quite funny. Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Meanwhile, Nash, who wasn't with us in the party, he said, you did a great job with the sewer, and he does join our party. He says, now that you're a magician, you should come to the Mages Guild and get good. I comment here that Nash is dope. We stop, so our next goal is just to go learn magic. Pretty vague main plot here. It's just hero's journey, go be a hero, sure. Let's go learn magic. So we stop by a shrine on the way. It's to the goddess Athena. I mean, Althena. She's the main goddess of the world. She created magic and light and everything. And without her, the world would be in darkness. We learned also that a dragon master is someone who can control the great god dragons. Also, the goddess Althena lives in a shrine atop the tallest mountain near Vane. Finally, we learned that Lady Jessica isn't actually here. She ran off to go do some adventuring. We continue on and see... What the fuck? Vane is a floating city. How come literally no NPC mentioned this? It seems kind of important. Nash earlier was like, let's go to Vane. It's that way. He didn't say, let's go to Vane, the extremely cool floating city. So anyway, he did see we needed to use a, quote, transporter to get there. So we look around. So anyway, to give you the layout again, we got Vane floating. We also see the huge mountain with the temple of Athena on top. There's also two towns nearby, the aforementioned barrier town of Nanza and a previously unmentioned town called the small seaside village of Lan. I'm not going to say anything about it right now. First, the barrier town. So barrier town, technically optional, but I think I got to either explain it this week or next week, so I might as well explain it this week. It's optional for me. I know it's not for y'all. So the barrier town of Nanza, you get there and they're like, yeah, we protect people who are going on this passage, and guard people to keep the enemies out. our like hero, our leader, who we respect and who is awesome, whose name I forget right now, is
It was Kyle in ours.
I think it's Kyle, yeah. Kyle is out. So you're like, oh, okay, these are like knights. They're like heroes, and Kyle's in charge of protecting people, but he's gone. As you talk to people, just NPCs, it becomes gradually apparent that this is in fact a protection racket. That they charge people money to go through the tunnel, and the only people who attack you if you don't are them. It's just a protection racket. There really are not monsters in this tunnel, or maybe if there are, it's nothing in particular. So they're so they're just grifters, and they're bandits, and their leader is their bandit leader. It's extremely funny and interesting how this gradually becomes made apparent to you. At some point, there is actually a cutscene about it towards the end of the exploration, where this becomes they basically explain it more clearly. But long story short, we can't go through the tunnel. They're gating us because Kyle's not here. That's all that happens in the Thief Town for me this week. It does not become relevant.
Weird.
Oh,
I know it does for y'all later, but tell me when
we're about to go
happens.
on an adventure with as soon as we're done talking to Vane.
Yeah, it does not become a thing. So, the seaside village of Lawn has a lot of NPCs, but they don't say anything interesting. I don't like. Soon something's going to happen. But before that thing happens, I don't think the town as such has anything in particular going on. So eventually we find the transporter. It's a giant stone circle with a Star Trek Federation symbol in the middle. Nash tells us this will take him straight to Vane, but for us, it'll take us to a cave of trials, and we need to pass through the trial before we can go to Vane. Solo dungeon. The solo dungeon is also insanely magic heavy. Luckily, Alex got pretty good at magic in my version of the game. Also, unlike most other RPGs, MP restore items are extremely easy to come by in this game, and spells are cheap. So you just go nuts, and you restore when you need to. The cave is full
You could
of
use
starlights.
items? You could use items?
If you equip them.
So our cave of trials, we were not allowed to use of items, but we did have Luna with us to do magic, because we mentioned we did not get any magic. We were going to Vane to learn magic from scratch. And so we could not use items, and it was a twofer dungeon, and there were dudes every now and then that would heal us. But
Nice.
also, starlights are really rare. There's actually a shop that sells them that say we are the only shop in the world that sells them. They're super expensive, and they do a Dragon Questy random number of like anywhere. The lowest I've gotten was 12, and the highest I've gotten was like 36. Where it's like it's not a consistent like X%.
Okay,
of
so
your
in this game, just for clarification, the swords and weapons in Vane that we're about to get to cost like $1,000, $3,000, $4,000. The starlight, which restores like maybe a third or so of your magic, depending on how much magic you have, costs $50. And the silver and the Microsoft Silverlight, which either restores all of your magic or so much that it's all for now, is $120.
What the fuck?
And every shop sells
for
them.
You
fucking
yeah.
And if you forgot, and if you forgot to buy some, don't worry. This dungeon is tripping them. Probably because there's no way to get to this dungeon if you don't have them.
Yeah, it was not tripping them for me. Also, I did discover none of the monsters in the Cave of Trials respawned. And so, like, when I got to the big hard boss at the end, I was like, well, let me just see if the guy at the beginning... Because, like, there was a guy at the beginning who would heal me over and over. Because I kept talking to him, and I was like, let's just see where this goes. And he just kept healing me. I'm like, okay, cool. The other guy has only healed me once. But I just walked my ass all the way back to the beginning of the dungeon. I was like, hey, can you heal me? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then I just waltzed my happy ass back up to that fucking hard as shit boss. And I was fine.
Nice.
Yeah. But it pissed me off.
Yeah, so like I said, for me it's really easy. This dungeon does have two bosses, if we're defining boss as we hear the boss music. They're both just pretty uninteresting fights against 4 monsters and then one strong one. On the way through the trial, we pass a big crystal-looking door. This is not the exit to the trial, but something else. Where could it lead? Anyway, we exit the Cave of Trials, and wow, we're now in the floating city of Vane. It's very cool. Also, enormous. Good colors. Nash says, I'm gonna go find you a magic tutor. See ya. We explore. Again, lots of lore. LOL, that stands for lots of lore, including a library with a zillion readable books.
So many.
This city is ruled by Lemia and also Galleon, who helps. And they're both highly respected. But Lemia has been acting strange lately and doesn't take any visitors to her chambers. My notes say Camgers. Anyway, that's wild. So we go to the library. So the goddess invented mana and the world flourished. Dragons have existed since then too. And if they die, the magic will disappear forever and the world will wither. I'm kind of getting contradictory messages if the goddess invented magic or if the dragons invented magic. The most reasonable answer is that the goddess invented the dragons, but they never actually say that. So weirdly enough, that obvious explanation is not given. We also hear that the world was a harsh void until the first Dragon Master drew magic out of the dragons. Also, there used to be a great magic empire, but they were defeated. But oh no, they may be returning. We try to enroll in magic school, but no one will take us. We also realize we got to go talk to Lemia herself, but she isn't taking visitors, so we visit Galleon. Oh, also, if we explore before we see Galleon, this is optional, but it's how it went for me. If we explore, we end up in the super cool Silver Spire. This place being Vane, has two spires, silver and crystal. The Silver Spire has a magic barrier, and we can't go up. But who's this? A beautiful girl named Mia. She's the queen's daughter. She asks if we've noticed the queen's acting weird. She's worried, but doesn't know what to do. That's it for now. It's interesting because she shows up in the next mandatory scene, so I'm pretty sure the scene where we actually meet her and she asks this is optional, because we could have just gone directly to the next scene and then she would have shown up there.
Okay, I'm sorry though. Who said that these versions are comparable? Because they seem to be consistently quite different.
Yeah, and it's crazy that we're not playing the Game Boy Advance one because it was too different. Like, it's nuts.
I should have played the Game Boy Advance one.
Because it's nuts how, like, they on paper, like, plot beats were doing the same basic thing, but it's just every place they could just zhuzh up a little bit, they did for Silver Star Story.
Yeah, this whole sequence just feels vastly different to me.
Yeah. And I was going to wait till Maddy got to the end of it.
Sorry,
and just to be clear, all of this is NPC exploration. I haven't said any required cutscenes since. I haven't said a single required scene since we get to this town, right? So
yeah,
this is all
you have mentioned several of
us.
our required cutscenes, which is nuts.
Yeah. So anyway, and I'll let y'all give the rundown in a second. So anyway, we do eventually go to the Queen's Palace, and we find. I guess I should say, because y'all probably say that yours is different if I don't say it. Because maybe it's actually not different. I said there's a seal on the tower. The way it works is when we first get to the tower, Null is all like, Alex, your dragon stone ring is reacting somehow. And the guard had already said no one can go up this tower. So I'm like, oh, my dragon ring is reacting. That means I can. I still can't, though. And the way it works is if you go up the stairs, you just arrive back at the first floor. So it just repeats forever. So that's how the barrier works. Though they didn't use the word barrier. That was my word. Anyway, so we go to the Queen's Palace and we find Nash. He says he'll talk to Galleon for us. Galleon looks dumb and has a dumb voice. He says he'll let us study magic if we do a favor for him. He talks like he's actually a villain. He says we have, quote, an assignment in a suspicious way. So, hey, remember that seaside village of Lon? Turns out some guy is going around claiming to be a dragon master, but he probably isn't really. Galleon sends us to go ice his ass. It really feels weird. Like, this whole magic guild has very fashy vibes. There's lots of prisoners in the prison. They clearly, like, control the world's economy. And now this guy's like, hey, you want to go assassinate someone for us? I'm really curious if the game is going to be going to be addressing this at some point or not. Maybe it isn't. It's kind of subtle. It's like subtle in the way that old games can sometimes be accidentally like this. I think it's tipping the scale to the point where it's like, no, this is going to be like the plot of the game later. But who knows? So anyway, we're going on an assassination mission to go ice this guy. But when we get to Lon, we see the guy isn't just pretending to be a Dragon Master. He is actually a real piece of work. So that's good, at least morally. He's beating people up and zapping them with magic and stuff. Real piece of shit. Apparently he's caused the whole lake to not have good fishing as well. Anyway, okay, y'all give me the rundown of how this goes in y'all's version of the game. That whole sequence of Vane.
Backing up to Vane. So we get to Vane and Nash is like, hey, I'm going to go do my own thing. You guys explore. And so we explore and we're walking around and we go to Limia's place and she's not taking any visitors. And someone there mentions that Mia's room is upstairs, and me thinking that Mia was just a nickname for Lemia was like, oh, maybe she's up there. And so I walk up to Mia's bedroom. The guards are like, yeah, we're not supposed to let anyone in, but Mia's really lonely and we don't give a shit, so you can go in and talk to her if you want. So you go inside to talk to her, and she has an animated FMV introduction where she's like laying on the bed and like steps into the light, and it's really, really cute. And she basically is like, I don't want to do a damn thing. My mom was a hero. I just want to get out of this life and not do anything, but I have to be like Queen 2 Electric Boogaloo down the line, and I really don't want to do that. Nash comes in and is like, what the fuck? Why are you here in Mia's room? This is not what I told you to do. I told you to stay out of trouble, and yet here you are trespassing. And he like pulls us by our ears out, and we go I think they give us a room or something like that, I think is the next thing. Anyway, something happens where Luna is hanging out by herself. Also, Luna's in this game. So she's hanging out and she hears someone playing the sitar outside. So she goes outside and there's just some anime dude with long white hair playing the sitar. And she goes out and is like, wow, your music is so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And they have a little moment. The next day, we go to meet Galleon. Of course, that was Galleon who was playing the sitar earlier. And he then also sends us on a trek to Lan, which we go to. And Lan is he tells us to go and investigate. He doesn't tell us to go ice the guy. And when we get to Lan and we meet what's his face, the fake Dragon Master, can't remember his name right now.
Hold on, we haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, but we definitely do not like the whole icing part of it. Just like never came up for us. We were just going to investigate and see what was happening, and so it doesn't have those fashy kill the undesirables flavor on ours.
Weird. So anyway, back in 1993, we meet the best character in the fucking game. It's Jessica, who I just now writing these notes realized is totally an elf. Damn it, she's overcoming my elf racism. Anyway, here's...
It's okay, Angela from Rogue Galaxy first started it.
It's really... This game...
but also...
I'm really going through an arc here, fellas.
I forgot. Nanza was a whole thing for us. So for us, Nanza is a barrier to Lan, so we could not get to Lan without going through Nanza. And when we
it was the worst.
Going through Nanza, we have a little NPC dungeon where we have to find Kyle because he's drunk off his ass and it won't tell us who he is. So we talk to this random person that has a face, like a portrait, and he's like whining that Jessica has left him. And but he won't tell us who he is. So we talk to somebody else. We're like, oh, you need to talk to Kyle. He was up on the North Tower. And we're like, oh, he's that drunk guy. You go to talk to the drunk guy. He's gone. And there's another NPC there. And you talk to the NPC. He's like, oh, he's on the South Tower. And the whole time you can find Kyle before you're supposed to find him. And he'll have moved by the time you come back to actually get him, until you do eventually run into him. And he... says that it's this really cute thing where he gets super drunk all the time, and when he's sad about Jessica, he's extra drunk and angry, so they trick him into going into jail so they can lock him up until he gets sober, so that then he can run things again. And so you go through this whole NPC dungeon chasing him everywhere until you wind up where he's in the jail, and he mentions Jessica, and so you run into her again in a little bit, and it's like her pre like seeding the ground of Jessica's going to be a really cool person, because the Jessica they're describing is not the little nun that they described at the nunnery or when Mel was talking about his own daughter, which was really cool.
So yeah, time to talk about Jessica and why she's the best character. That is wild though. So first of all, she's hot. Second of all, she's a junior priestess. But third of all, not only is she a priestess, but she's a fucking longshorewoman. She is the perfect. She is the perfect woman. We meet her and she's like, ugh, I just had the worst interaction with some jerk in Nanza. Hey, you want to go murk a guy to let off steam? So she joins our party. I'm exaggerating, but that is like, we tell her what we're here for, and she's like, that sounds great. So she joins our party and bullies the boatman into letting us use his boat.
So that's sort of similar to how it works with us, except that when we get to the town, she's there like telling the villagers like, hey, screw this guy, we need to go beat him up. And then we talk to her and she's like, hey, help me beat this guy up. So, you know.
So anyway, so now we have a cave dungeon. This one's tricky. It's got a sneaky layout in a hidden passage, reminding me of East actually. Pretty fun. Short, but it took me a while to get through the dungeon because, like I said, it's got a hidden passage and a sneaky layout. Jessica is amazing.
Ours was a swamp dungeon with poison on the ground that hurt you Dragon Quest style, and the worst goddamn mimics in the history of JR goddamn fucking
Seriously,
PGs.
This game,
my game, does not have mimics so far.
So you go up to a chest, you open the chest, and it's like, monster ambush, and you're like, oh, this is going to suck because it's a monster ambush. But not only is it a stronger monster, which is than normal, which is what mimics usually do, it also confuses your whole party as you open the chest, which means you can't even run away or defend or do a damn thing. So they just kill you unless you're lucky and one of your dudes uses his confusion to run away from battle. So then when everybody else dies, it counts as an escape, not as a game over. And that's the best case scenario because there's no way you're going to win. They're going to just kill you.
Yeah, I have no idea how that made it past play testing. Like, it's just the worst.
Well, that's rough.
It's fucking bad. But
so anyway, yeah, you get through this dungeon. It's really easy. Jessica is amazing. She has heal all, a decent offense spell, and she does good fucking damage with claws. Again, perfect woman. We get to the bottom of the cave, and it's Dragon Master Zoc. He laughs in our faces and says, there's no way we can take him down. Then we take him down. He's like clearly a guy, right? He's like a dude. And it does that great old RPG thing where we go to fight him. And now that we're in the battle screen, he's 4 lizard monsters. Okay.
He is riding a toad lizard, I think they called it, frog lizard maybe, but it looks like a dragon, and he stupidly thought it was a dragon, and that's why he thought he was a dragon master. And so he's riding atop his trusty steed in ours. He also looks like Erdrick in ours. I
actually was thinking that too. Yeah, he definitely looks kind of like a Dragon Quest hero, which is cute. Oh, also, all the mages at Vane definitely look like the Dragon Quest V hero. I think the very first one we see has like straight up like purple, like the same color purple robes. It was dope. Anyway, after he beat his ass, he begs for mercy and admits he's not really a dragon master. Oh, I wrote this twice. He begs for mercy, and we say, fine, and he runs off. That's neat. When we get back to town, Jessica sadly is like, that was fun, peace out. Anyway, now that we finished that side quest, we go back to Galleon. He says he foresaw our success and already talked with Lemia. Go talk to her. So we go to her throne room, but she's not there. We go and talk to all the NPCs in the throne room, and they tell us stuff that I forgot to write down. And they're like, just wait, she'll arrive. It's just a little interesting little dramatic build-up. Finally, she does appear. She's also, and this is going to be a recurring theme in this game, hot. She says, Galleon told me all about you, but he didn't tell me what a disgusting urchin you are. How dare you, blah, 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 to the dungeon with you. So she just fucking arrests you on sight. Also, Null gets away, thankfully. So we hang out in our jail cell a little bit, and then Mia shows up with Null in tow. She says she thinks her mother is under a curse, and in order to fix it, we'll need the magic mirror from the top of the Silver Spire. She breaks us out so that we can go literally do the exact plot of one of the most popular parts of Dragon Quest III. And that's it. It's literally the exact same plot. Also, I did accidentally play ahead because I was unclear about where we were stopping, and it just is. This next week, it's like, hey, you want to play Dragon Quest III for a little while? Anyway, that's it, folks. At the end of this, so you get out of the jail cell. The jail cell is just the basement of Lemia's like castle, right? I went there earlier just to explore. You get out and you talk to people, and no one reacts to the fact that the person that just got thrown in jail is now out of jail. But no, they don't actually not react. The game has different dialogue. That's the thing. The game has unique dialogue, but they don't really address it. The impression that it gives is that if Lemia's in the room, they'll do anything she says and obey her. But when she's not there, they don't really care. So they're like, I don't know if they don't like literally say this, but like, they're like, oh, you're out. Don't go into the throne room. Lemia's in there. Like
weird.
Like, I guess if she ordered the guards to arrest you, they'd be like, yes, ma'am, we will do anything you say. But like, when you're just wandering around, they're like, hey,
that's crazy.
So you just, I guess, just to slightly catch up with the rest of y'all. For me, you just leave and you walk out of the building with Mia in tow, who's great, by the way. Also, did I say she's hot? She's hot. And we just go to the tower I mentioned earlier, the Silver Tower. And again, our ring reacts, but this time we do it harder. And we can go up the tower. And the reason I say all of that is because I know that y'all, I believe, are somehow already in the tower. So how does this go down in the future?
So we come back to Vane, and we go in to meet Lamia, and she's like, oh, hey, I heard that you were trying to get the dragons, so obviously that means that you are the Magic Emperor that people have been talking about this whole time as the main bad guy. And she's like, you are the Magic Emperor, so I'm throwing you in jail. And when you get to jail, the real Lemia is there with like a face mask, like
it's very
Jorah's mask.
Obviously her,
yeah. And so Mia doesn't recognize her own mom, which is dumb. She's just like, oh, she seems important. We should save her as well. And so she joins you. I don't think as a playable party member. I think she's just like following along behind you.
She doesn't even when you pull up a save menu, the characters all kind of disappear, but Lemia doesn't. So that tells me that she is not playable.
Yeah. And so you get up to the Silver Tower, and it is not your ring that reacts. Mia does like a prayer of magical, I will own this castle one day, and unlocks it, and you go through.
Also, worthy of note, it's not the Silver Spire, it's the Crystal one. Like, it's the other tower. We still have not gone into the Silver one.
The Star Chamber.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and spoil it.
Yes,
I will go ahead and spoil it because I accidentally played too much. I go to the Silver Tower literally to get the mirror, and then go to the Crystal Tower to.
Oh, also she had the mirror the whole time.
She just gave the mirror to us.
Gotcha. So that's what. So the Silver Tower is a side quest you have to do to get the mirror. Is the thing. Huh. That's what I'm saying. There's two towers, so I just go to the Silver Tower and then the Crystal one, and y'all are just already at the Crystal one.
Yes.
Weird.
Neat. So anyway. Also, I was going to say something. Actually, I said earlier something that is wrong, actually, because I misunderstood what you were saying. So the implication for why she throws you in jail, it is implied. It's not said clearly at all, but from reading between the lines, the reason she throws you in jail in my version is, well, I guess since she's actually evil and probably works for the dragon, the Magic Kingdom guy, what she says, her reasons why she throws you in Sam's game probably is like a lie, but that's what she says, right? Because like actually she works for him. In my game, there's no lying at all. She doesn't say anything, but just the writing does subtly make it clear that like you show up and say, hey, like everyone, so many NPCs in the game keep saying like, you remind me of Dine, or you seem like you're a dragon master. So basically she realizes that you're like the reincarnation of Dine or something, and it's like, oh fuck, we gotta throw this bitch in jail. So that's implied as the reason. Like she realized she does, it's not just for literally no reason, although it seems to be for no reason. Which I realize is the plot of Dragon Quest 11. And hold on. And as far as where is the real Limia, in the jail, there is a cell that we can't go into. Just in a second, we actually get a jail key, but this one door still won't open, so we can't even go in there. And there's someone who is masked and robed walking around. I figure, I don't know who this is, but since it's the only cell I can't go into, even with the key, it's probably important. That's probably the real Lemia. But so far we don't know that. We're going off on an adventure on our own, and everyone's just like, "Where's the real Lemia? We don't know."
Okay.
So, in all fairness, we don't technically know it in our version too. It's just very obvious,
right?
Yeah.
Well, in ours, we never talk to this person, and the graphics aren't good enough. Like, it's very clearly not. It's very not at all clearly Lemia. It's just some prisoner, right? Who's in a place that we can't even get to, and we can only see her because of the third-person top-down view of the camera. But yeah. Anyway, that is it for this week. We are just out of jail and about to go show a mirror to an evil lady so that she stops being evil. Well, actually show that she reveals that she's a demon and that we kill her, something like that.
Yeah. But let's listen to some music, probably the boss theme, because we mentioned the boss theme as being really good. So we'll do that, and then we will talk about our memorable moments.
Hell yeah. I'm going to go last. I've been doing a shit ton of talking in my life lately, even more than usual on account of those 3-hour phone banks. So also I have so many MMs I don't want to say about other people. So everyone else go, and I'll clean up whatever's left.
Okay. So real quick, real fast, I will read some item descriptions because they're golden in the PSP remake. But the item description for Ramus's stew pot lid is almost a shield.
That's funny.
Alex's longsword is length does matter.
There's so many dirty jokes in this game.
Alex's fur hat is soft chinchilla bits.
I don't like the way
they included the dick and balls in the hat.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Luna's leather clothes are kinky yet comfy.
Oh my God.
Why is this game so horny?
And when you get Nash, I didn't get this then when I took a picture of it. I just was saying, I wonder if this is a Chrono Trigger reference. But now that I've met the named character, this is really funny. But his accessory that he's equipped with when you get him is the Mia Bromide #1, which, as you remember, is the Naga Bromide. It's the Naga porn from Chrono Trigger, but he has a risque picture of Mia as his equipment. He's a scumbag.
Yes.
I think that actually happened in my game too, but I don't really remember. I think it was at a store. Anyway, go on.
I don't want to be overly forgiving to Nash because I don't really like him, but in all fairness, a bromide is like a thing in Japanese. Like, I don't know if any of you have played Sakura Wars. Came out a little while ago. It's like a weird fantasy mech historical dating sim action something. It's a weird one, but bromides are like a major thing in there, and they're not like risque. They're just basically a bromide in the Japanese context isn't necessarily risque. It's almost like a promotional material, like a little postcard picture of an idol or something like that. It can be risque. It's just not necessarily.
Like, you're clearly looking at it because she's hot and you like her, but it's not like you're necessarily like jerking off to it.
It could be like, an idolized, like you think this person's great, sort of like a poster, sort of, as opposed to,
that makes sense.
A porn mag or something. I mean, maybe it is because Nash, whatever, but
yeah. So I have a couple choice lines from back in Saith. You talk to a guy outside of the bar, and he goes, "You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Plus, the beer is watered down," which I really like. And then there's one I took a picture of Ramus's reaction because it was funny, and I was like, this will remind me of what the guy says, but here we are a week later and I do not remember it. But he says something like, I love you forever, you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And Ramus's response is, he's not talking to you, Luna, he's talking to his beer, which is great.
Yeah. I really like that lampshade hanging over the RPG trope of just talking to, just like overhearing conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then, so Null this whole week has been obsessed with eating fish, and you show up to Lan, and Null is like, hell yeah, this is a fishing village. Where's all the fish at? And the NPC is like, oh, we can't fish right now because Dragon Master Zoc has like stolen all of the boats or whatever. And he goes, well, thanks for the tip. We were just leaving. I'm not even sure why we came here to begin with. And then let's see. I think that's it. Besides the cinematography, like I said, of the boat scene is so good. It is one of the best anime FMVs in the history of anime FMVs, and I highly recommend anyone who did not play the PlayStation or PSP version to go and check it out because it's real good. But that's all of the important ones that I had besides Jessica being hot. There's like 15 screenshots of Jessica not even saying anything funny. I probably just laughed because she's hot, because that's what you do.
That is what you do.
But what about you, Negasam? You can...
Oh boy, okay, I've got a bunch, so I'll try to be quick. I just went through my notes, bolding all the things that I thought were particularly interesting to me, at least, or that I wanted to mention. Mm-hmm. One thing that stands out to me as kind of a negative thing, we were talking about the mimic chests. The worst. Mm-hmm. Just as a mechanic, it's not interesting. It's not uniquely challenging. It's just frustrating and bad. But also, those chests don't give you anything. You don't get anything out of those fights anyway, and it is just the worst.
So it's just like, lol, this sucks.
Yeah, pretty much, and you can't even do anything about it, like, you know. So yeah, it's bad. There was one point where Ramus said something about how when he's running the store, he's going to be known as Bond, Ramus Bond, which weirded me out, both because it didn't really fit and also because I feel like meta jokes don't work all that well if they rely on an extremely specific thing that definitely doesn't exist at all in that continuity.
This game does that a lot too, and last week I was saying how much I love the Working Designs translation, and also saying that Working Designs was great in general, mostly on the strength of their Dragon Quest VII localization. This week I was so mad at them half the time. Just completely stupid references that like don't matter at all. Like someone just references how like Chanel robes are in this year, and I'm just like, that's not even a joke. You're just saying a thing that exists in the real world, but it doesn't exist in this world, so it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
At one point, someone confuses Null for the Tootsie Roll Pop owl cartoon owl. And he's like, I'm not even an owl. He's like, I'm not an owl. I'm a dragon, you dipshit. And I'm like, do Tootsie... Whatever.
I don't know. I kind of want to forgive that one, actually.
There's a bunch of them, and they're all stupid.
Yeah, so on that note, real quick, when I was looking up, like, which Lunar should I fucking play, there are 4 distinct versions. And everyone was like, if you want the better translation, not by Working Designs, do the PSP one, because it doesn't have all the stupid references. I just read off a Star Wars goddamn reference. There are a bunch of references in this one. So it's like, why even like fully retranslate it? Why didn't they just pour it in?
It's interesting because like saying that something the original had was scum and villainy, that's obviously the writer doing a stupid reference, and there's not a joke. It's just like, hey, you remember Star Wars? But in universe, it's like, yeah, a character could use those words in that order if they felt like it. Like, sure. Yeah. Which is, like, I still find it annoying, and I would have rolled my eyes and got mad if that had happened. But it's not at all, it's on another fucking level from being, like, referencing Chanel bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It at least functions without, like, you know, calling it, like, it doesn't specifically reference a thing that doesn't exist. It just says a thing, and we can be like, I get it.
They might as well look at the camera when they do mine, you know? Like, am I right, folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, so I was, so shout outs to Mado, the translator for Mother 3, and his wonderful website, legendsoflocalization.com. But awesome. He was talking about all the different translations for Final Fantasy IV, and he mentioned that the Game Boy Advance one had a whole bunch of like meme references in it, and he sampled out a whole bunch of them that were there that I didn't get as a reference. I thought they were just weird writing because the memes have died, but the words fit, like you were saying. So they could fix their mouth to say those words and not just say Tootsie Roll Pop or whatever.
Right.
But, yeah, it reminded me of that. So I guess PSP version is slightly better in that regard, but it's still hilarious in that same sort of way. So highly recommend both of them. But did you have more, I guess, Sam?
Yeah. All right. So let's see. There was one scene where Null said he was dreaming about selectively clad servant girls feeding him fish. And okay, am I the only one who gets weirded out when entirely not even shaped, vaguely human-like creatures are horny for human women? Like,
yeah.
I think at this point I'm just like inoculated against thinking that that's weird.
Yeah, I guess it's a common enough anime trope, but still. Okay, the scene where, at least in our version, where Luna decided that she wanted to like leave and go back because she thought that she said something basically about it's some weird reasoning, something about how she's surprised that this adventure is going as well as it is, and therefore she must have secretly doubted Alex the whole time, and that means that she, you know, if she was doubting him, then he can't depend on her. And it was this whole weird thing, and I like the like general thing there, you know, that she was thinking that she had to go, but then Alex sort of like encourages her and says, no, we need you, and like affirms her. It also kind of weirds me out that Ramus of all people in this cast was just like, yeah, whatever, let's go. But of course they give the girl an inferiority complex and make her like think that she needs to leave. I don't know. It was mildly annoying to me on that front, especially considering we already kind of had something like that with Ramus being like, oh, leave her. She's just gonna mess us up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
At least she can fucking cast magic spells, you ass.
Yeah, like, I don't know. The scene was good. I just kind of... The basic tropes of it, I was not a huge fan of. Okay, there is an enemy in one of the... I forget which... was it the trial cave? Yeah, it was the trial cave. There's an enemy. It's called a gunfoot.
Yep.
It's really weird. And when it fires its gun at you, it screams, and it's horrifying. I don't know if you can like put the sound in here or anything, but it is...
I should.
It's off. I have no idea what's happening there, but it gave me such existential terror. I don't like it.
Gunfoot.
So, okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get through these quick because there's just... Okay, I wanted to go over a couple things in the Thief Town, because the Thief Town in particular is very, very horny.
Yes.
There are a bunch of women there who were just there to see Kyle. There's some woman like in the kitchen who's talking about how strong and gorgeous he is, and then says, but he's a bad boy, and bad boys need to be punished.
Yeah, they do.
There's another woman who's talking about how hard her work is transporting goods around the continent, but it's worth it when she gets to come here and see Kyle, and then she does that thing. So there's that. There is someone who is either a prostitute or like a sex toy saleswoman or something, because you talk to her and she's like, oh, I'd show you my wares, but you're too young to know what I'm selling or something like that.
See, if this was Dragon Quest, she would have just straight up sold you Puff Puff, but in this game they had to weasel out of it.
Yeah, I feel like I've been deprived of like being able to buy fantasy dildos in this game or something, but I'll that's fine. And then there's a dude somewhere too who talks about how Kyle is the most fabulous boss who has charisma, a keen sense of fashion, and a wonderful tan. So like clearly everyone is very horny for Kyle, but then there's also a scene where a woman gets mad at another woman for having slapped Kyle, and she says she has half a mind for going and slapping that woman back, and Null's like, can I watch? So like, yeah, that entire sequence is just like so much more overtly horny than the rest of the game, and it was just okay. And then my favorite thing about Jessica, honestly, I know that at least that one or two of you have like grew up in church settings. She gives me major pastor's kid vibes.
Oh yeah,
like that she was raised to be this like nice, cute, obedient little nun or whatever, and she's out there dating thieves and running around on adventures and stuff, and I love her very much.
Speaking of Jessica, I remembered a very important thing that Maddy did not bring up, so it might not have happened in hers. So when we're at the nunnery, we meet the head nun named Facia, and Facia is like, oh right, hey, I train all the nuns here. Jessica has just left, so you go and you do all the things, and then Facia shows up, and she's the one that's like, hey, you need to hurry back and go to Vane. And then Jessica says, I have no idea who that woman is. There is no one at the nunnery named Facia. And we're like, but we talked to everybody, and everybody knew who she was. And she goes, I don't know. I just know that I don't know who that person is. There's no such person as Facia that works at the nunnery. And it is a big old question mark on what the fuck that's about. And we have no answers yet. But I did just remember that, which is a really cool thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
I actually have met Facia because I accidentally played ahead, but I won't say anything about it. So I do know who that is and what's going on with that. That's interesting.
Yeah, we had met her, and so like we knew who she was like in general, but she specifically, Jessica, does not know who she is because something's going on.
But like meeting her in general, like you said, that wasn't in my game at all. No.
Oh, huh. Okay.
In my game, there is zero Facia until the stuff I played from next week.
Interesting. Huh. All right, well, one more thing. There is a bit of bickering between Jessica and Nash in the course of the whole, like, taking down the fake Dragon Master thing. So obviously I ship them, except also, and this is my thing, so of course it would happen eventually, I kind of ship most of the characters with each other because poly shipping is what I do. At this point, yeah, most of them, except for Nash, he can just have a bickering frenemies relationship with Jessica, and that's it, because I don't really like him much. But
Nice.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's just, it was a fun time, and I had fun playing it. And someone else can go now.
Eli, what do you got?
Well, most of the memorable moments that I had were taken.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let's put a pin in Eli going first next time.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I don't really have much beyond that. I do want to say that I like in this high fantasy game, we have a bunch of people with fucking normal-ass, mundane names like Alex, Kyle, and Jessica.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then,
Brett.
and also, like, Queen Lamia has decided to name her daughter after herself by just calling her Mia, which I thought was, there's Mia.
That's actually funny because Lemmy is not a normal name, right?
Yeah. There's Mia,
Yeah.
and then there's the Mia. Also, I'm really sad that there wasn't a Chrono Trigger style trial scene. I could have used one of
Right.
those.
Oh, that would have been dope.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Nice. I weirdly enough. Oh wait, it's not weird that none of mine got taken because I'm playing a different version of the game. I'm gonna skip a couple of these. Here's a really quick one. This is a random NPC. I don't know who it is. He has 2 lines of dialogue. My wife. Oh, by the way, I saw Borat 2 last Friday. It's great.
I've heard it's great.
It's fucking great. Anyway, he says, my wife is an easygoing sort of woman, ... That's nice. Next box. But I think she's looking at other guys, ... That sucks. Also, once your diamond gets taken, this one guy at the pub, because I was exploring, because I didn't know, I couldn't find the magic alley, by the way. It took me a while to find it. This guy at the pub says, I know you're depressed because your diamond's gone. I just think that's funny. When you die in this game, they always specifically refer to your party. So, like, when you run away, it'll be like, Alex's party got away, or whatever. When I got my first game over this week, I found out that when you die, it says, the party's over.
Oh, ours says, or mine says, it's a dead man's party, and I appreciate that Oingo Boingo reference.
That's also good. Let's see. One NPC asks if you're his nephew Joe. That's it. So this is a funny one. When we're in the town of Lon, and we're talking about how there's so many monsters nowadays, things are getting more and more dangerous, there's actually a very clever kind of play on a common popular culture joke. Not a reference exactly, but a joke. They're complaining about how things used to be easier because you wouldn't be attacked by dragons all the time, but nowadays things are much harder. So then this guy says, I remember when I was young, my dad had to walk 20 miles through waist-deep snow just to get attacked by a monster. Things are easy. Things are harder nowadays. So that's really funny. That's a really clever inversion, actually. Let's see. Okay, finally, when you're in the Magic Cave trial, there's a lot of great NPCs. There's a lot of other guys trying to get through the trial. And one guy, he's very close to the end of the cave. He goes, I haven't found my way out, but I've grown quite comfortable here. I think that's actually his second line. But basically, he's like, I'm lost. Oh, that's right. He says he's been there for like 4 years. He's like, I'm lost. I've been here 4 years. Oh, well, I live here now. Also, when you find the fake Dragon Master and defeat him, he says, this is so embarrassing. I just want to curl up and die. When you talk to a guard at one point, he says in Vane, he says, if you want to be a guard, you got to take a rigorous test. You have to be good at fighting, and you have to be brave, and you have to be smart, and you have to be attractive. After all, who wants to be rescued by an ugly guy?
Wow.
And finally, when Mia asks you to help her out by saving, her mom and stuff, this game, for the record, has great dialogue options in general. But the two we get here are, she says, "Please help me," and you can say, "How can I say no?" Or, "That sounds too hard." Also, I will say, I think so far every choice has been a "but thou must," but I don't actually know because I happen to always pick the right one first. The only time I didn't was here when I picked, because obviously that's a "but thou must." So I picked "that sounds too hard," and then they convinced me to say yes. But like the 2 times this week when we were like nice to someone, like we let them go instead of kicking their ass, both of those I chose to show mercy because I didn't know it was a "but thou must." So obviously if I'm actually choosing, I want to be nice and let them go as my role play. But when I watched the Let's Play later, I do believe they were both "but thou musts." So, but I didn't know that at the time, which was fun. So anyway, that is, I think, yes, that is all of mine. There was something else that I didn't have a picture of that I wanted to talk about, but I forgot what it is, so we're done skis.
Awesome. So next week, we will play until we complete the Red Dragon Cave. I do not know if there are cutscenes that happen while leaving. So as soon as you can, after you exit the Red Dragon Cave for Maddy, the lair for us.
Okay, I was about to ask, so we're sure my game has this.
Yeah, last time I was just going off of yours. This time I'm making sure that it didn't balloon to be gigantic like this week's did for us. Because yours was like, what, 4 hours? Ours was like 6 pushing 7.
It actually ended up, it's like 5.
Yeah, but I made sure they're roughly the same. But also, this game is not that long. After we get to the Red Dragon Cave, we will have 3 more episodes.
Oh wow.
So
we could even go a little slower, because if you notice, this episode's going long because talking about 2 different... We're talking about the book of Matthew and the book of Mark at the same time.
Yeah.
So we could even do shorter weeks to save time on episode length, or not, or we could just call it make it a short season.
An hour and 40 is not too long. And I've been wanting some short games to try and get us closer to a year when we say welcome to year 3, 4 years into the podcast.
Decent.
So yeah, we will do everything from the Crystal Tower up to the Red Dragon Lair next week. So
I still can't.
That'll be a lot of fun.
I still can't believe our podcast has been going on this long. Who is still listening to us?
And why?
Yeah.
Surprisingly huge amounts of people. We have like I forgot how much. I don't know if it's 23,000 or 2,300. I think it's 23,000 listens or some bullshit. It's like ridiculous.
I didn't know there were numbers that high.
Yeah, it's a big ol' whole lot of you. I like every day we get at least like 20 listens, which is just nuts. It means we probably have like 200 plus subscribers.
That's fucking awesome.
We get like a spike of like 80 on the first day, and then like 40 or so every day for the whole week. So it's ridiculous.
Hey,
like,
all you like 185 subscribers who've never given us money, give us money.
I will say, Sterling, who I shouted out last week, has apparently been like listening to us at night, like as he's going to sleep and stuff. I think that was what Biz told me, but like,
apologies for those weird ass dreams.
He's super into us, and I'm really, really excited about it. Like, I feel like I have a true fan.
Yeah. If you want to be like those 185 listeners that have not given us money but are going to now give us money, you can do so at www.rpgbook.club, and it'll on that site you can donate, and you can it has a link to our Discord, so you can come and talk to us. We are all incredibly friendly, and we don't shut up about stupid stuff. So if you like that, there you are. But yeah, like I said earlier, we will play next week till the end of the Red Dragon Lair, and then we'll beat the game in like 3 weeks after that, which means we get to announce the weird ass shit we're doing next week.
Hell
So that'll be
yes.
fun.
Love it.
Get ready for a weird one, guys. But
quick little thing.
Yeah, for RPG.
Quick little thing. I've got to shout out. My streams have been fun, real quick, and I want to shout out one of our listeners who tuned into my stream. The person's name, darn it, I already lost it. Their name is on Twitch. Generic Fighter. I don't know who that is in our Discord. But they told me that they came here from our Discord. So thank you, Generic Fighter, for tuning into my stream.
Yay!
It is fuck, they changed their name to just Generic Fighter. He has donated in the past. He is a crossover listener from Square Roots. Square Roots was covering Rogue Galaxy, and our best son Matt was like, "Hey, they already played Rogue Galaxy," and he showed up. He donated on the Patreon way back when, and has been hanging out, lurking ever since.
Yep,
so,
I remember that guy.
Shout outs to you, Generic Fighter.
Shout out for showing up to my stream. Really good seeing you. Anyways, now we can sign off. I had to do that.
Yeah. For RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Elias Saley. Oh, fuck. Wow. Let me try that again. I am fuck. I'm probably Sailor Elias Warren. I don't know.
I'm Maddy Grace Webben.
And I am Nigga Sam.
I like how you're leaning into this. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, may as well. Got to tell us apart somehow.
The two of y'all are gonna have to fight at the end of the season.
There can be only one. I hope
the true
you know
final
that.
boss.
Yeah.
There can only be one Sam. Exactly.
The Samlander.
In our version of Lunar, the Silver Star story, the final boss is Sam.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with names like Alex, Kyle, and Jessica if our final boss is just named Sam.
That would be great.
I mean,
I would love
got a guy named Hell
for someone
Mill.
to take. I would love for someone to take like some Final Fantasy that has like a whole bunch of stupid names like Galoof and Butts, and just change all their names to Jim.
Yep.
Carrie.
This is I'm only going to spend 15 seconds on this, but I have to mention. Remember Brett, the guy who stole the guy's thing by being too good at cards? I met him, and there's a whole card mini game. He was in the sewers, and you get to play. Are you kidding? You know, one of the most normal games there is, the one where you want to not go over
Blackjack?
21
Poker?
points. Blackjack, that's the one. Yeah. I forgot the word blackjack. Anyway, you can play blackjack with Brett. We got to say that. There we go. Thank you, Brett. We love him.
That's really cool. All right, but bye everybody.
Bye.
This is the end of the episode now.